Alright guys, welcome back to SportZrant. I'm Will, this is Jesse, and this is where we rant about sports, different issues going on throughout the week. And today we got a pretty general one, pretty laid back rant, more just a discussion I guess, of something we've been noticing. And I hope you guys have been noticing it too and kind of can talk to us about it and discuss it with us in the comments. But I'm saying, man, there's a lot of bad calls going around in sports right now.
Bad calls.
Like a lot.
And a lot of games that we're watching. We'll be sitting there nonchalantly watching a game, and the first one I'm going to bring up is I remember we're sitting there watching, your Yankees game, and I think they were up pretty good on a team, and who were the Twins maybe were they playing? I think it was a Twins game.
I mean, which one? Which call is this?
Okay, I'm doing the first base call.
Okay, the first base call. I think it was against the Twins.
Yeah, this is blatant. I mean, yeah, they're winning.
Yeah.
And they were up pretty good. I mean, at least by 4 runs, if I remember right. But so we're sitting there, we're all just kind of laying back, having a good time watching the game. And there's a play at third. He hits a sharp liner down to third. The guy dives and gets it and goes to throw it over to first. And throws it over. Well, what we saw was that the guy totally beat the throw regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether his foot was on the bag or not. But then so then they slow it down, and his foot is a good. Oh my gosh!
You can see daylight between the base and his foot.
Yeah, at least 3 feet. And the original call was that he was out. Well, then obviously
Boone challenged,
and so they go upstairs, and they're the announcers or whatever are going through and showing us the replays, and the announcers are like, oh, his foot's off the base, and even at that the throw was late, and whatever, and the call stood.
Yeah, they came back in. They just said
they discussed, and it took a while. They sat there and they reviewed it for a while, and then they came back and said that the call stood. Like I said, granted. The Yankees were up quite a bit, but that's that doesn't matter. You're taking a hit away from somebody, and that was a terrible call.
Yeah, and that brings up one point that I want to make about this too. And this happens, I think, in the NBA. I definitely know in baseball is why don't they have to explain it? When they come back. In the NFL, when a referee comes back from a review, they'll say the ruling on the field stands because we determined he did not have possession of the ball.
Right.
I want to know what the hell you think you've seen that made him safe.
Right.
When I can see sunlight.
The only thing that I can think is that they had the one angle facing the pitcher or the first baseman's face. They had that angle up there.
Yeah.
And that one was pretty.
Yeah,
but then they do the one behind the first baseman, and that's where you're like, oh my gosh, his foot is
not even close.
So, I mean, they should have access to every angle that we have.
Exactly.
But I mean, the only defense I could have for them is they looked at that one and they're like, I mean, we can't tell whether his foot's off or not. But I mean, even at that, the throw didn't beat him. So I mean, I don't know what they saw.
That one was truly baffling.
They're gonna review that team that's up there, and they're gonna be like, what were you guys thinking?
They should, because. Even to me still, it'll be truly alarming if they reviewed that team and they're like, we didn't have the right angle. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? We were watching TV and we had better angles?
Yeah, that's not
are you kidding me?
You guys have to make the call. You guys should have every angle available.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
But that's not the only one. I'm glad you brought up the Yankees.
That's a very small. So I started very small. That's that game didn't really matter. I mean, you guys still won.
In the grand scheme of it really didn't. I think there was 1 out, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So and
nobody was on base. It was like an RBI was given up. I mean,
in the scheme of the game, it didn't really matter.
A hit was taken away. Neil Walker maybe, or was it Gleyber Torres?
I want to say it was Hicks. I want to say it was Hicks.
Yeah, I think it was Hicks. That's right.
Or Torres. You might be right with Torres.
Because I asked, I was like, well, would that be his first major league hit?
Yeah, so it was Torres.
So yeah, it was Torres. So I mean, if that would have been his first major league hit,
that would have been huge.
That sucks.
So before you jump into the next one, I just want to bring up one little bad call. Is the other night in LA, they had this play where Didi ran up on an easy grounder right to him, right? And he ran up on it, and he tripped on the on the sand
Oh,
coming
fell on
in.
his butt.
Fell on his butt. Remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that play? Picture it in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
They ruled it a hit, not an error. Yeah. Look it up.
He could have.
No! That was an error. That was hardcore an error.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I
he
thought you were about to
should have been
finish.
able to make that throw.
Yeah, he should
Yeah,
have.
he tripped and it was his fault.
Yeah, he tripped and he fell on his ass. Like, it was right to him and it was slow. Like, he had
Yeah,
to
and he-
run to it.
Yeah, he ran to it, he scooped it up, and he had it in his glove, and then he fell on his back. Like, I mean,
Yeah. And they
sorry.
ruled it a hit, not an error. I mean, which helps both those guys out because he gets a hit and he doesn't get an error. But at the end of the day, your job is not to help these guys. It's to call the game as it is.
make the right call, right?
So, yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that one in there of, like, even, I'm not being biased here. Like, they're bad calls even for us. I'm like, that was shit.
Yeah.
Like, Didi should have gotten an error. It was a terrible play. Anyways,
one other thing before we leave baseball, balls and strikes that one game. That was awful.
Oh, yeah, the same game.
But I mean, that's. I feel like that happens everywhere all the time. That's a
It's
big.
become part of the game, that part.
Yeah.
Just like just like fouls in the NBA.
Right.
Sometimes it's like you touch a guy, foul, he's done.
Yeah.
And then other times you smack him in the face and
nothing
happens.
Yeah. So, anyway, so yeah, like I said, that I started very small. That was a nonchalant game. Whatever. Getting into some of the NBA playoff.
Don't forget Stanton
Calls.
first before
Oh,
you
Stanton's-
leave baseball.
That's true. Yeah,
that's a big one.
That's true.
So, would you like me to describe the
Yeah,
situation?
they're your team.
Let me set the scene for everybody. So, 1 out in a tie. No, we were down by 1 run.
In like the 8th inning.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly what inning it was, but it was late because this game went into extra innings. You've got Stanton on second, and you've got Didi on third, and Neil Walker at the plate.
Yep.
He hits a bomb.
Thought it was a home run.
A bomb to right,
Right
field.
field.
And who grabbed that? Who was that guy?
He's left-handed. Oh, I mean,
I completely forget who
I
the
don't
fielder
know.
is. It was an amazing play. He did an
Mhm.
awesome play.
Yeah.
But he robs the home run from Neil Walker.
Jumps over the field.
Yep, and throws it back in, and the shortstop there cuts it off, tags second base, and Stanton's ruled out a double play, inning over.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what the fuck just happened? And like, Didi crossed the plate, so Boone comes out, and Boone's biggest thing was,
I want that run.
I want the run.
Yeah.
So if you're ending the inning, did I get the run? Because Didi did cross the plate. Like I paid attention when we watched it before this.
He crossed it before they touched second.
Before they touched second, Didi crossed the plate. So the run should be there, even though it's a force, which on a force you go. It's confusing as shit.
Yeah.
But anyways, in theory, we'll say, if you're calling Stanton out, Didi should have, the run should have scored.
Right.
Which is what Boone was trying to figure out. And while they're all talking about it, the 30 seconds you're allotted to challenge passes, and he couldn't challenge. So what they were saying is that Stanton didn't tag up. So when the throw came in, the shortstop tagged second base, and he was out because he advanced
too early.
too early or something like that. Like, and we watched the replay, and it's completely fucking absurd.
Yeah, his foot's still on the baseball. The guy's making the throw into
Yeah.
into the infield.
He like blatantly tags up, like very easy. Like he doesn't even try to run when the ball's hit in the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he walks back and he waits. Like,
and I will say the awesome thing was we watched that that post game interview, and he's very humble, but they're kind of laughing about it. He's like, I'm pretty sure I touched, but like.
Well, they won too, so it's easy to be humble when you win.
Right.
But it could have been a huge thing in the game because it ended the inning.
Right.
And it was just so wrong. Like, how the hell? And I don't know about umpires. I'm not biased on what umpires do what. But if you're the second base umpire in that situation, what the fuck else are you looking at? What is your job besides seeing if this guy is ready to tag? Like, that should be your only job.
Yeah, the first base guy should have been looking out to make sure he made the catch.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean, that's how I thought it would be, because there's nobody on first, so that guy, turns around and looks to make sure that, the guy caught the ball, or the home plate umpire or somebody.
And third base, is the guy down the line on third is checking the third base tag.
Right. So, and then, and the throw comes in, and that guy's running from, like, the mound. He's like running in from like the mound and runs up and makes the call, and was like, he looks over at first base and then he makes the call. So I don't know if it was like a group.
I think no one's seen it.
I think nobody.
In that situation, to me, it defaults to the runner. Like unless you can prove that he left early or didn't tag, it has to default to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has to. What a shit call. Like
that was bad.
Now they ended up going into extra innings and Didi hit a home run and it didn't matter, but it really could have.
Oh yeah, that could have.
Now let's
taken the game away from you guys, but and ruined your winning streak. But now we'll jump to
some games where it did matter.
Some games where it very much mattered. Okay, so I'm gonna start with LeBron.
Let's do what? Okay, well, that's probably the lesser of the two in my opinion, actually.
Yeah.
So that's a good
because
one.
I think that
set the scene.
So I'll set the scene. All right. So you've got the Cavs are playing the Pacers. It was game 6, 5 or 6, whatever, and
it was an elimination game. It was 6. It was 6 because LeBron made the shot to go to game 7, and game 7 he had like 45,000 points.
That's right, because they were down 3-2.
Yeah.
And they tied it 3-3, went back home. Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
so it was game 6.
Game 6. Okay. So it was a tie game, and the Cavaliers had the ball, and LeBron goes to dribble up under the hoop and gets into the paint, and he goes to skip a pass out to the wing, and I think it was Kyle Korver, I can't remember. But anyways, one of the Pacers hits the ball out of his hand, and then it bounced and hit the out-of-bounds line, and then bounced up and went off his elbow, and then went back out of bounds. Well, they didn't see that it hit the out-of-bounds first, so they called it out on LeBron because they saw it hit his elbow. And he was arguing, he's like, no, that hit the line first, so that should still be our ball because he hit it out of my hands. Anyways, they didn't review it. I don't know how reviews work in the NBA. I don't know what call justifies that you need a review.
You get a review.
Teams aren't granted a review, and then if you don't get it, you lose a timeout kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
The NBA has totally different rules with that. But anyways, so they went with the call. It was a turnover on LeBron, and that's when he thought that the Pacers were going to really do something.
Oh, man, that was
so
scary.
it's still tied.
This moment.
Yeah, so it's a tie game. The Pacers are bringing the ball down. It's in Oladipo's hands, which we talked that he needed to be the one to do it. And he finally does. He comes down. He's at the top of the key. He's got LeBron guarding him. Goes and drills around him. Gets around him. Goes to do a left-handed layup. It looks like it hits the glass, and then LeBron blocks it. Well, they didn't. And that's a goaltending because he hit it on the way to the basket.
Yeah, and at the time, honestly, no one was calling it. I think everybody was so hyped up on the fact of what had just happened, of LeBron being there to block it, and the excitement of the game, that I didn't hear very many people going, I think that's a goaltend. It wasn't like, oh no, like everybody's like, what a block, blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah, because he just had turned the ball over and whatever. So, he gets the block. They count the block, and then they call a timeout. Well, then, they called the timeout. They inbound.
We all know what happens here.
They inbound the ball to LeBron. He hits the 3. They win the game. So, first off, Oladipo thought he was fouled on that play. Also thought that was a goaltending. If that's the case, you count the basket. That's 2 points, and he gets a free throw shot. That's the 3rd point. So at that point, then LeBron would have had to have made that 3-pointer to tie the game, to send it to overtime.
Which he would have.
So does that that changes the
game
a little bit.
Here's my thing. So in my opinion, first of all, 100% it was goaltending.
Right.
We've all watched it. We've seen it. It was. Even LeBron himself has said it was goaltending. But I don't think Oladipo was fouled on that shot.
I didn't see it.
It was a pretty clean jump by LeBron. I didn't. He hits the ball.
Right.
Granted, he hits it up against the backboard, but he still hits the ball.
So give him the points and move on,
Yes. But my question, so I agree it's goaltending, it should have been a foul, and he should have got the points and move on, which in that case doesn't change the game because LeBron hit a 3, so they still win. But my question is, does it even out though because the bad out-of-bounds call and the bad goaltending.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It was
like,
two bad calls, but it was against the opposite team.
opposite teams, because Oladipo never would have had the ball to begin with if LeBron wouldn't have been called out of bounds.
Right.
So that's a weird scenario there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were all bad calls.
Yeah, I mean, there's just two back-to-back.
Yep.
And, yeah, I mean, I don't think it really would have changed the outcome of the game. I mean, I don't think any of them were really... I mean, it could have, but, like... I mean,
honestly, I think if one of them was going to change the outcome of the game, it would have been the out-of-bounds one.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that really could have changed it.
Yeah, because then, the Cavaliers would have kept the ball.
Yeah.
They needed to score anyway, so... yeah, so then that could have put the ball in the Pacers' hands with 3 seconds left, and they hit a shot.
And they win.
And yeah, whatever. So
who knows? Like that. So yeah, if one of them was going to change it, it would be that one.
But yeah, the goaltend. I mean, that's 2 points, and then he hit the 3. So,
but it definitely shaped the end of that game.
Mm-hmm.
These bad calls shaped the end of that game.
Yeah.
So and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that bad calls should never happen. They should. They're human error. But like,
Right.
The ones I'm having a problem with are the blatant ones.
And the ones where like we have the technology, and that's why we have replay and stuff like that, and why it's been implemented is to try to reduce the amount of bad calls. But it's almost like now they're getting spotlighted. There's a bad call, and it's like ching, like
Yeah.
and they're getting so yeah. It's been pretty rough.
Yes, it has.
And that's not even the only one. We got a bigger one.
The biggest one of the bunch, which we all know what it is. If you've watched any of the NBA playoffs, you know what it was. Final 16 seconds of the game of OKC and the Utah Jazz.
94-91. Jazz were up.
Mm-hmm. And OKC had the ball with 16 seconds left. And Paul George, gets it on the 3-point line.
It's at the top of the key.
Yep. And he pump fakes and gets...
And Rudy Gobert jumps to block it.
And he totally, he bites on that pump fake so hard that when George actually shoots the 3, he gets hit in the hip, which is, it's a blatant, obvious foul.
Right.
Like, he got hit when he was trying to shoot that 3. It misses, and then... ensuing afterwards is the entire OKC team trying to convince the refs that it was a foul. What the hell are you doing?
Instead of fouling the guy.
Instead of fouling the guys who have the ball now, which is the Pacers, and 10 seconds run off the clock, they end up losing the game. Actually, they end up fouling Oladipo. I think he shot, or not Oladipo, Donovan Mitchell, and he shot free throws and put him up by more. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter. The point is that one truly impacted the game.
Oh yeah,
it truly changed it.
That's 3 free throws to tie the game, and potentially. I mean, Paul George is a pretty good free throw shooter. I have much confidence that he would have made every one of them.
Tie the game.
Tie the game. Yeah, then that could have changed the outcome of that game for sure.
And that one was blatant. That's the problem I have with it. It is obvious.
And how does it? How is that non-reviewable?
Yeah,
I guess is my question. I think the NBA rule is fouls are not reviewable.
Okay.
I think is what they're unless it's a technical foul. If it's a technical or a flagrant, because they have to determine the severity of it.
And I get part of that because look at this situation. What exactly happened? They thought it should have been a foul. Well, basketball moves so fast that while you're trying to argue that a foul actually happened, the other team's down the court scoring. Yeah. You know what I mean? In 10 seconds, a lot of time in the final minute has ran off the clock.
Right.
So that becomes tough.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand it because I've seen them called the most ridiculous fouls I've ever seen, and then this one was so obvious and no one called it, and that still gets me.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was pretty bad. Like you said, very blatant. Yeah, they had a lot to be upset about that night.
Now, it is worth mentioning that George had missed.
Oh, he missed.
He missed every. Did he make 3-pointer that night? Maybe 2.
Yeah.
He had been shooting terribly all night, and they as a team they had missed the previous 4 attempts in that minute of 3-pointers. So there's no saying that he would have, made the shot even if he wasn't there. But the point is, it was a foul, and he probably would have made the free throws to tie it.
Yeah, that changes everything. Now, do I think that they still would have lost the series? Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
But
and don't get me wrong, I don't think they lost. Okay. In technical terms, I think they lost the game because of this, but I also feel they lost the game because if they really wanted to win that fucking game, they wouldn't have been down by that much. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Going into the final minute,
and it just goes to show you can't leave it in the hands of the refs.
Yeah, no. When you don't go in that final minute, you want to be up by 20 points, so that you won.
And the same goes for any sport. UFC fighters, they want to win the fight.
Yep.
Well, don't let it go to the judges and don't let them decide because, we've seen fights where you thought one guy clearly had it and he didn't. The guys. What fight was that?
GSP.
Yeah, GSP and
Hendricks. Right.
And Johnny Hendricks, GSP's face was messed up, and he totally thought he had that fight.
That's probably going to be one of the worst ever.
Dana thought that he had that fight, and then the judges scored it in GSP's favor. And it happens in the NFL all the time, too. Don't leave it in the ref's hands, they'll...
So why do we feel like it's happening more? Is it just because it's happening, there's these big ones? Because, honestly, if you didn't watch the Yankees games, you wouldn't even count those, Or is it maybe happening more than we even know? You know what I mean?
I think it happens more than what we even know. You're only allotted so many challenges. So you got to be careful of what ones you want to challenge. You don't want to, the first inning, your guy beats a throw down the first baseline, and he gets called out, and you're like, whoa, that should have been a hit. Well, I mean, you still got 8-9 more innings, so there could be a call,
at the plate,
or something, that's going to change the game. So I think that, it was circumstantial that, we were watching those games, and we're like, it should be this way, but then it went completely the other way, and we're like, what? Like, how? Like, I'm sitting here from my couch, and I'm like, no, that's not right. So, I think it's just pure circumstantial. There's probably a lot of people that don't even know those calls happened.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think the majority, no one knows about that first base call because it wasn't that significant.
Right.
I think the Stanton one is such a big deal just because it was so crazy, so rare to be doubled up on a tag. Like they ruled it. Like they ruled that play a double play sac fly. Like what the fuck does what is that?
Double play sac. Yeah. But I think you hit it on the head earlier though. I think that they need to when they do a review, they need to explain.
Yeah.
They need to talk to the guys upstairs and what did you guys see?
Yeah, I agree. So that's my question. How do you make both those sports better? How do you make MLB better with calls, and how do you make basketball better with calls? Which I think the latter is the one that needs to work.
Yeah, basketball.
Traveling.
Traveling.
Maybe reading the rule book every once in a while.
Yeah, traveling. Yeah, traveling's really bad. But it's kind of like what you said. The games are happening so fast. With baseball, not so much, but like basketball happens so fast, and a lot of times, they're probably not watching their feet to watch to see if they're taking 6 steps, 7 steps, whatever.
And because one thing I will give them defense on the traveling thing is like some of those steps they count in those videos or watch are like baby steps. Like they're barely moving their feet. Like how the hell would you notice? Like to me, I wouldn't count some of them as steps. Like a major travel is when you're literally walking or trying to get around somebody and not dribbling.
And like a lot of times, I think I commented on it earlier watching a game when they're dribbling. Like the way I was taught is like you dribble with your hand always face like down, but these guys are like cupping it and like the minute you go like this, you're holding the ball. I think that's technically a double dribble.
Yeah.
Because you're possessing the ball at that point.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of leniency in it anymore in basketball, and really the way to I don't know if you really can fix it. I mean, because then you're going to have to review every time that somebody drives the ball in.
So here's what I think. Here would be my opinion. So I think we can agree on baseball because this is getting a bit long. Holy shit, this is getting way long. This is 25 minutes.
Okay, well, we'll wrap it up.
So we'll wrap it up. I think we both agree that baseball would be better if they just explained to the fans why the ruling is the ruling.
Yes.
You know, like, what did you see that you thought it would be? Like, why are you calling Stanton out? You know, and sometimes you're just still going to make bad calls, but at least we need to know why you're making the call.
Right. We thought that guy's spike on his cleat was 3 feet long and he was touching first base.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Well, we need to know that, all right?
And then for me, what I think for basketball, two things. I think they seriously need to look at their rule book and consider changing some stuff and defining some stuff a little better.
Yeah.
Really look at fouls in transition. That shouldn't exist. All right?
Yeah.
Like when a guy's on it, like he steals the ball and he's on a run and some guy smacks him on his shoulder. Foul, everybody stop. Like that, you shouldn't be able to do that. Like let him go dunk it.
What was the other one? Shot clock violations. That was the other one.
Yeah,
like when you put up the how was it? Oh, they threw up a shot and it airballed or whatever.
Airballed.
The shot clock, but then they went to
the other team got possession.
Yeah, they go to they go on a fast break down the court, but they stopped it. They're like, nope,
because it was a shot clock violation.
Yeah,
so it resets. That's stupid. And then I really think to like fix the Paul George thing, I think they should be able. I think the refs should be able to call almost their own version of a timeout. Kind of like, you know, in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter of...
Yeah, they have refs challenges.
Like the booth can challenge it and stop the game and challenge a play. Like, I feel like that should be put in the NBA. To where, in that George situation, if this ref down the court goes, whoa, bro, that was a foul. Like, we need to stop. We need to stop and review that one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They can go, okay, hold up. We think there may have been a foul. We're going to stop.
Right.
There's still some controversy going to be to that because then if you go, there wasn't a foul, you stopped the play
right.
when it was happening. So, but at the end of the day, I think it'll make it better. That's a better controversy to me than it is something like this. So
right.
That's what I would think. But we're going to wrap up here before this becomes a 30-minute video. This was supposed to be our easy one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but, you know, you just kind of, that's what happens when you rant. So anyways, if you guys like the video, leave a like, leave a subscription. If you agree with us, disagree, whatever input you want to have on the bad calls in any kind of sport, leave a comment.
Tell us a bad call.
Yeah, there's probably plenty that we haven't seen that you guys have, just like, some of these ones that maybe we brought up that you guys didn't know.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely, just like I said, leave a comment on ones that you've seen or what you agreed or disagreed with us, and we'll see you guys next time.